You're busy. You've got lives, okay? You don't have the time to be trawling through all the fall/winter 2025 runways on Vogue Runway to try and pick out what's the good stuff. Okay, what are the pieces that I need to squirrel away some money for, blah, blah, blah. That is why you're here, because I quite literally have nothing better to do than do exactly that. I have gone through all of the runways. These are the pieces that I think are worth knowing about, whether you want to get ahead of the curve and know what you need to start like, okay, I'm really interested in that. Let me put some money aside for that so that I'm not surprised, okay, come September. Or maybe you're just nosy and you want to hang out for a little bit. All of those things are fine by me. I have done the digging. There's some good stuff coming for us towards the end of this year, and these are the pieces that I think are either going to be really popular or are worth getting. We're going to go into it. We've got all the big brands here. Also, with all of the chopping and changing of creative direction, you might be like, I don't even know what's worth getting, if it is worth getting from a collection by a creative director that's no longer there, sort of thing. I'm going to go into it. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you like luxury fashion, then you're probably gonna love it. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Okay, we should start off with Versace. Sad news, Donatella is stepping down as creative director of the brand. Okay, I mean, she's been there ever since Gianni tragically was murdered, and she has been steering this brand ever since for many years, okay? That she's earned her retirement, but she's going to still have a role at the company, right? She's like, brand something or other, I'll have it on the screen. Anyway, she presented this collection, which almost was like a little bit of an inkling because it kind of felt a little bit like Versace's greatest hits, okay? There was like really rich silk, ornate, baroque designs. You had that like really great sort of overly studded Western inspired pieces as well. It felt like the best of Versace all in one collection, in my humble opinion. Now, if you are a Versace fan, if this is a brand that does a little something to your heartstrings, then this is a really good collection to get a piece of, right? If honestly, my favorite pieces are the ones that look like you've got a really fancy, over-the-top, ridiculous duvet fashioned around you, snuggling you up, enrobing you in a level of luxuriousness and opulence that I have never known. Clearly, I feel very passionate about this. We've seen the duvet coats from Norma Kamali, all of that. This is a sort of spin on it through a Versace lens, okay? I love the one red one. I think that's my top pick from this collection. Like I said, the studded pieces are great too, but it's something about those like duvet or like the very silk heavy designs that I love. However, I will also say, if you're looking for something a bit smaller from this collection, but is still gonna pack a punch, it's the studded leather gloves. I have been going on and on about how fingerless gloves and all of that are definitely having a moment through this year, and it continues, and this is no different. This is a sort of, it's like when we think of gloves, we think of either like a woolly little glove that's there to do the job, or we think of like a leather glove, something very simple and like classic and whatever, but not all that exciting, okay? Here we go, Versace steps in, razzle dazzle, loving it, okay? It's a mixture of metal studs and crystals in there. Fantastic, love. How could I forget the long tailored Western inspired with the little yoke flaps on the pockets there coat that just when you thought it was good, just already you were like, oh, great coat. The lining is in silk. Oh my gosh, it's like you flap it open and a story is being told on the inside. Oh, such a good collection. Usually when it comes to Versace, I don't think the bags are particularly strong. The shoes here and there. But there was one pair of shoes from this collection that, honestly, I feel like really didn't get any attention. It was in there, it was nestled in there. This is a round toe. It had a silver cap on the toe, and it has etched in it like Versace established 1970. Possibly, with a silver heel, and I thought that was just really great. And again, a great piece from this collection that feels like it's part of this collection because Versace pieces don't have established whatever on them. Anyway, that's fab. Then we move into Hermès. Now, when it comes to Hermès runway, it's easily to get blinded. All right, by the usual suspects, okay? What's the new Birkin? What's the new Kelly? What are the crazy new quota bags that are going to come out as this collection? Nay, I say, because there was one bag as part of this collection that really caught my eye, and I was like, hold on, you're doing something a little bit different there. I think I'm interested. I think I'm intrigued at the very least. They are doing what I'm going to call the slim box trunk. Imagine a vanity that keeps all of your little makeup in, right? That sort of like squarish vanity case. We know it, we've seen it. They've done that. They've chopped off a load of the bottom of it. They've trunkified it so it's hard shell. And it's got this, what looks to be like a cute little H lock mechanism. But what I really like about this bag is not only the fact that it was held top handle, which is the most obvious way that you might think to hold this bag, but they also clutched it. They weaseled the hand through the top handle like a little clutch, and from then on I was like, hold on a second, this is really quite something. Yeah, I mean, it's out in a brown. Will it be a permanent piece? Will it be something that they do in more colours? Question mark. Also, because it's Hermès, we won't see this for another like 18 months. This isn't coming out this year. This is coming out next year because they are notoriously slow at rolling things out. However, let's say you like that, but you're like, I don't want to spend Hermès money on this. Question mark as to how much it costs. Let me introduce you to the Victoria Beckham version of this, which is extremely similar, albeit even skinnier than this one, but same vibe. Will more brands be coming out doing this sort of style? Let's keep our eyes open, but thus far I'm intrigued. Also, while we're at it, from Hermès, on the glove thing, here we go. Hermès, if you want something a little bit more subtle, but still sort of looks a little bit edgy and interesting to a certain degree. Fingerless gloves from Hermès. Leather with like some interesting little stitching there, and then it's attached to like a knitted sleeve of sorts, right? So you know me, I love a fingerless glove. They do something to me, also because I have nails. That's actually the main reason. I don't know why I'm lying and telling you they do. I mean, they do. I think they're fun. But normal gloves aren't accommodating for these clackers. Anyway, so I was interested to see Hermès doing this. It looks cool. I like that sort of leather and fabric mix. Very nice. Givenchy. Sarah Burton did her debut for the brand and all eyes were ready and on it. Interesting stuff to talk about from there. However, the one piece that I think will be commercially successful, because I think it's easy to integrate into a wardrobe, and I hope that it's something that's actually like built on a bit in future collections, are the black ankle boots with the Givenchy lettering on the side. They are logo-y enough that if you want people to know, listen, I hear you, I see you. Okay, there's not many of us logo fans around apparently at the moment, but it's still sort of subtle enough that it's not like if this boot was fully logoed sort of thing. I think this would look great with skirts. I think this would look great with sort of a legging or, you know, any sort of trouser that can be tucked into this. I think that as a boot, it looks inoffensive and easy to wear. But then also I didn't get any close-up details. So I have faith. Okay, I'm not quite 100% on her. I'm a good 85% on these. Burberry. Obviously, when we talk about Burberry, the trenches, the outerwear, you would hope it's strong. And yes, it was very strong from Daniel Lee's Fall Winter 2025 collection, right? Especially, it's like a really great raspberry, bumpy little bomber jacket with a matching scarf. Is it attached? Is it not? I don't care. It looks great. They also had these like, they looked to be like painted trenches. Phenomenal. But anyway, aside from those, which we already like, of course they're going to be great. Excuse me? The trilt. What's a trilt, Cassie? I hear you ask, because it's not a word. It is a word to me. This is a trouser kilt. Because on first inspection, you're like, oh, look at this lovely little Burberry checked quilt, you know, swish swaying down the runway. And then you get the back view of that, and it's a pair of trousers. It's a skirt, okay? But it's a trilt in reality. The thing with this is that it's a quote-unquote odd piece. You know, it's not a piece that you see done anywhere, but I also once again think that this is really wearable and really fun and really interesting to come from a brand like Burberry. It makes complete sense, okay? So I think these are great. I think that these should have some level of attention on them, / it's a great piece. You do this with a shirt, you do this with a lovely little jumper, a lovely little turtleneck, whatever. You do it with a heel, great. You do it with a little kitten heel, little pump situation, also great. A statement piece that doesn't feel crazily shouty, but is so very interesting, and I love that. I also think that the thing from this Burberry show that is going to do well are the boots. They've done knee-high, they've done thigh-high. Thigh-high generally isn't that integrated into a lot of people's wardrobes. 9 times out of 10, the knee-high versions are going to perform better than the over the knee. But I still think that those are going to do, that all of these are heels. Okay, none of these are flat versions, and there are some versions that are checked and some that aren't. Again, I think that these are great. These are also going to be price dependent. But generally, Burberry shoes compared to other brands aren't that crazy. But let's see. When it came to the Gucci show, there was one collection of accessories that really pulled my attention from everything else. The shoe, I didn't even bother really looking at the shoes. Nothing really caught my eye. Clothes, there was some nice pieces, blah, blah. But the horse bit costume jewelry, 100%. I liked the lariat versions of it. I loved the choker, loved the belt. These felt very Tom Ford for Gucci. It felt very, an iconic piece of the brand. However, not that shouty. It's an iconic shape and, sort of motif of the brand. But I think that it can work with so many different pieces, outfits, all of that. It's Gucci without, shouting from the rooftops, it's Gucci, all of that. Well, it kind of is, but whatever. I loved it. I thought that it worked so, so well. As we know, Gucci is in a state of flux, shall we say. This collection was done by the Gucci design team. And what happens when, we know that Demna's coming in and he's going to do his own collection. When a new creative director comes in, they basically get rid of everything else aside from maybe classic pieces done by the design team or the previous creative director because they want to start afresh, putting their own stamp on things, right? You understand why. Now, because of that, some people are like, well, I'm not going to buy from a collection that doesn't have longevity. And I understand that, especially if you look at things from an investment, quote unquote, sort of perspective. However, if you are somebody that likes limited edition pieces that less people have, all of that, these are actually the collections to buy from because they don't even really get produced to the same amount as a normal seasonal collection because there's going to be changeover really quickly. So even when there was the Gucci Cruise collection, half of it actually got cancelled before Sabato de Sarno started. So something to think about, but that costume jewelry is fantastic. Also, for people who maybe I don't want to buy Gucci because of Demna, his first collection will be out in mid-2026. So you have time. Valentino is collaborating with Vans. Okay, I spotted these mainly on the men's shoes during this collection, so let's see if this gets rolled out men's and women's or the size range and whatever. But you have got your classic checkerboard skater boy Vans done in a few different styles and colours with the Valentino logo integrated in there. Alessandro Michele is bringing his collaboration ways to Valentino and I think it's great. I think these are really fun, especially if this sort of style is your vibe. In terms of Valentino bags, I think that they're getting better. But the one bag that I personally think is really good is they do a little mini box bag with a top handle. And for an evening-y situation, she's fabulous. She's not all that sort of practical and useful for a day-to-day situation, but out of all of them, she's my top pick. Then Alexander McQueen is giving us a little sweet treat. A little taste of nostalgia with the Alexander McQueen skull scarf. I've gone on about this in a recent video. I will have that linked below. But the blouse version, I loved it because it was giving, obviously, the nostalgia, but done in a new and an interesting way that I really appreciate. If you want jeans and a fun top, this is the top. It's easy, it's fun, it's so very McQueen. I'm a fan of it. Is it lazy? Yes. Do I care? Not much, actually. So I'm going to call this family of shoes the Saint Laurent beak shoes because you cannot tell me that there is not a bird on this earth that has a beak exactly the same as the snout of these Saint Laurent shoes. There is something so very bird-like about it. No, this isn't even a snout. This is a beak. Okay, it's so nipped in at the front, the curvature, she's catching them worms first thing in the morning, The heel of the shoe is sort of bent, so it's oh my god, how is it keeping her up? But anyway, Saint Laurent can do no wrong when it comes to shoes for the fashion girlies. They have really been having quote-unquote it shoes for the past few seasons now, and these are going to be no different. Come in a few colours in that really glossy, great patent that they seem to be doing a lot recently. They're going to do well. You know how I feel about Schiaparelli. Whatever they do, I'm going to be there. Daniel Roseberry spins magic and fantasy and everything good in this world out of his fingers and onto clothing and accessories, and what talent, truly. And he seems really nice, which just on top of everything, oh gosh, yes, good for him. But anyway, obviously, everything in this show. If you can have it, you go for it, my love. Okay, I'm seething with jealousy. It's glorious. No, I'm really happy for you. But if one has to pick, and if one has to pick something that's slightly more on the, I don't want to use the word affordable, approachable price point when it comes to Schiaparelli, then there is one piece from this collection, and that is a belt. This collection was extremely sort of, you know, a nod to Daniel's Texan roots, as we can see. Right? Western and, you know, the cowboy aesthetic and all of that is still very much having a moment in fashion, and this collection was really heavy on it. The multiple belts, it was giving Michael Jackson bad, you know, with all of the belts and all of that. So I think if there is one thing, it's a belt, and you can use that how many different ways. Casually, on jeans, you can get a size so that you can get a few extra holes in so that you can do it nicely up high on the waist, over a dress, over a jacket, all of that. Get use out of it. They're just so over the top and like beautiful and detailed and just, yes. Fendi is celebrating their 100th year anniversary, and once again, much like the 25th anniversary of the Baguette show, this is going to be a show that if you want those collector's pieces, if you want those very rare and interesting baguette, then pay attention. And I'm sure that there will be maybe a few more by the time that this comes into stores. Are these like really huge sequins in the shape of Fendi FFs as well, on these so like rich satin, great textures actually, because they also do like a Prince of Wales check wool one. She might actually be my favourite. I love the like marigold yellow satin, but the one on the wool with the green crystals and all of that, she's an underrated queen. But this is a collection that, yes, if you want like a little piece, a little, oh, this is from the 100th year anniversary of Fendi, then, you know, there's only gonna be 100, you know, that's sort of how that works. So whether it is a bag, there's going to be a hell of a lot of accessories and bag charms, and they also have bag charms that look like small dolls. It was weird, but also nice? I don't know. Actually, it was just, yeah. But anyway, the bag charms they're still kicking. So there's going to be, I think there's lots and lots of goodies to be had out of that. Great boots. But anyway, speaking of shoes, D Squared did their 30th anniversary. God, everybody celebrated 2025, dear me. But anyway, they have one pair of shoes, and they do these like really over the top, ridiculous, sort of very iconic shoes. Like I said, there was like the skate moss shoe from 2003 or something. But anyway, they had one pair of shoes come down the runway, and I was like, oh, if I was a collector, which in some ways I am, the cowboy boot heels. It's just sort of got the top of a cowboy boot integrated into a sandal. And I think that those are fantastic. Felt the need I had to tell you. Question, Ferrari as a fashion brand. Why? Who is stocking it? And why is it actually pretty decent? Specifically this one Jacob in his Technicolor Dreamcoat. It's like a watercolory rainbow of colours, and it's a really sodding good coat. Question mark, why is Ferrari clothing a thing? But also, why am I sort of here for it? And also, how much of are there things? Miu Miu's New Balance shoe collaboration has been obviously doing astronomically well. Everybody loves it. They're selling out all of the time. So when I saw these on the runway, I was like, these are going to be a runaway success as well. More Miu Miu sneaker variations, but this time done in a few different colours of what looks to be python or python embossed leather. So they are taking that sneaker thing and they are running with it. Yeah, I mean, I've said it, these are going to do really well. I actually really like these. In terms of some of the other designs, they weren't really my favourite, but these I get, again, it's that very sort of slim profile to the floor, flat to the floor, retro-y look. And also, when it comes to Miu Miu, like, you've got to be quick with some of them. So I feel like with these ones, lock in. My toxic relationship is back, you know, I got the text. I got the you up text, and I answered. Because the Chanel Fall Winter 2025 collection done by the design team, my compliments to the chef. I was not ready for how good that collection was, especially the bags. One bag after another, and I was like, oh, this is really good, she says with one tear crawling down her face. My favourite bag was the Burgundy Peyton East-West Give It To Me. Yes, the essay has been informed. Glorious. It also looks like there's maybe a crossbody strap inside. Not sure how I feel about that, because again, like, I feel weird about like East-West bags, long East-West bags being crossbody, because it's like, okay, so you're just carrying a skateboard, you know, on your side, it doesn't really look great. But if it's a shoulder strap, then I really like that. Questions. They also had some really great big bag. They came strong with the TBE. They really did. I was so happy with all of the tiny little glorious little tiny bags coming down the runway. But if you are a big bag girl, then this also had some very, very good options. They had like an XL wool flat bag that had a red leather chain, and I liked that little pop against it. I was like, oh, you're unexpected, and I enjoy that. They also have a bow bag that is really quite a nice, like, sizable, shouldery, tote-y situation. Really good stuff. When it comes to the shoes, there is only one shoe to pay attention to during this collection, and it's the pearl boot. Classic, right? Black Chanel boot, and then the heel is a massive pearl with a CC in it. I don't even like Chanel boots, okay? But I told my mother, I said, if there is one boot that you have to get, it's that one. Forget about the rest. This is collector's piece, but also like weirdly wearable. You can see that with a skirt. You can see that with a pair of skinny jeans. You can, you know, like, that is very wearable, but so brilliant. Speaking of brilliant, the crossbody pearl bag, don't even. It's gonna be priced upon request. I don't wanna know the price. Don't tell me. I just want to admire from afar. Okay, like a piece of art in a museum. I know I can't afford it, and yet that doesn't make me stand here and admire it any less. Glorious. It gives Carl energy, like that level of sort of like tongue-in-cheek fun, and that's why it was a great sodding collection. Ooh, the last one. Loro Piana's extra pocket pouch, the L19 and all of that have been wildly popular over the last 18 months, 2 years-ish probably. It's not that easy to get them in whatever colour you want. As soon as they land on the website, they are spoken for. They are bulking up the collection come fall winter 2025. I don't think demand is going to waver, especially because they've done an extra long version. They've east-wested it, and they've said, we're not giving you just a little east-west, we're giving you a big east-west version. They're doing it in like different fabrics and all of that. Also, Tamara posted on her stories this picture, which I was like, does that look like this one that's sort of folded? Almost like a wallet on chain version. And I was like, oh, you're an interesting little shape and you intrigue me. Again, I think those are going to do well. I think that they're clever to bulk up this collection and keep doing cool and more interesting varieties and all of that, and it's going to do well. There you go. Let me know if anything piqued the old interest of yours, anything that you're like, oh great, now I have to squirrel money aside for it. I am going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are, and in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.